Someday I would buy galleys with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course for the havens. You many foemen, you many foemen, you many foemen.
Tens of thousands on my right, thousands by my side. War between good and evil, watching our fists collide. Battle for our freedom now, to the streets we ride. Flags waving all around, pages full of pride. This is where we make a stand, no more give or take. March around the Capitol, storm the city gates. Putting pressure on their necks until the truth breaks. All walls of corruption, take out all the snakes. Star Spangled Banner, got it playing loud and proud. People from all walks of life filling up the crowd. Defend the Constitution, many warriors have vowed. Casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black. Return her to a form of glory, fix the bloody crack on the crown. Fetch it down, it's going down.
My mama told me, yeah, she warned me that this day would come. I'm like my father, go to combat with the blazing guns. I survived that, then I came back to the place I'm from to face off all these haters and the battle in the place I love. You can't break me down, I'm indivisible. You still see my raps if I was invisible. But I'm standing tall, and I spit the truth. So you all appalled, cause you know it's true. They call it freedom cause the fallen troops pay for this. I love this country, doesn't matter how much hate I get. I take my colors in the battle, ain't no wavering. Cause this is for my warriors who marching to the cadences. This is for the sisters working hard on the ship. This is for the brothers getting y'all doctorate. Father, yeah, taking y'all on the ship. Baby, tell me why it's hard for the patriot.
I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. I don't think you've gone this deep, even when you're falling asleep. You fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep, you fall asleep.
We record while you snoring. Never been about that Taurus. We snapping on Taurus. We play to win, better forfeit. Stun gun singing like chorus. We landed in Florida, still in the middle of the forest. You better run like Forrest. Every bar gold, that's oral. So glow, the aura.
In like chorus. Nice.
What up, everybody?
What's going on?
So, you're probably wondering what the heck is going on.
There's no intro.
There's no intro.
What?
This guy's not. I mean, he's not even introducing himself. I think
Seriously?
you guys know who I am. I'm the mad scientist, philosopher king. Well, the two kings of the Rube Empire. You know all the jazz. Well, if you look at the title, you'll see new format for the show.
Yes.
So I've been thinking about. I mean, I'm always thinking about how we can make this show better. And
Well, we're always trying to figure out a better way of doing the show, new formats, whatever we think might work that people might enjoy.
Sure. And just how we can do things better, you know, with what limited time we have and limited resources. Exactly. So I had what I think is a pretty decent brainstorm. And it was that while I like the 3-night-a-week format,
Yes.
doing 3
Agreed.
shows a week, like 3 full-on, like the podcast show a week, doesn't give us much time for prepping for that show because we don't have a lot of extra
True.
time.
It's exhausting, honestly.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm listening to stuff, I'm getting ideas for topics and whatnot, and so is Ray, and so is Dusty. But like I can't gather materials, I can't gather clips and audio samples and stuff to go along with what we're talking about. It's really hard to make it solid, right?
Yes.
So ultimately it's just us talking about a thing and and doing the best we can with that. So I came to and then on top of that, Ray is only with us once, maybe twice a week,
maybe
yeah. And so
hold on, let me call that bus, and I just want to back it up over here, back over here, or never.
So my thought was, let's spend Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's still do the stream 3 nights a week. Let's still stream 3 nights a week, but Tuesday and Wednesday can be more chilled out, relaxing streams where we actually discuss with chat, topics that they'd like more info on, and and then you can see our discussions as we talk about what we want to talk about. Ray can jump in if he gets time and throw something at us, and then we can do some research. We can look at it, and we can and use this time to gather those materials to make the Thursday show the actual show, the full-on podcast, and make it as good as we can make it.
There you go.
That's my idea. So Tuesday and Wednesday, just chilling on stream. Join us, converse with us in the chat, give us ideas for what you'd like to know more about, and we'll see what we can do.
Or just what you want to talk about. Could be wrestling, could be movies, could be books,
the floor
could
is
be
completely
TV
open.
shows.
The floor is completely open.
It's open. We're open and available. If you want to know more about us, we can talk about that. I don't know why anybody would want to know more about us.
Oh, I know why they want to know more about me. I'm amazing. I'm a king.
I can definitely understand. Me,
yeah.
I'm just
look
the
at this
lonely
beard.
window washer.
That's interesting.
Look at the beard. The beard is so, magnificent.
Look at that bald spot. Everybody loves that.
That's why you're the ivory tower.
It's exactly why.
And you always come up with the best ideas. That's why you're the mad scientist.
All right. Well, I try. I think I'm not an idea machine gun. I'm an idea sniper.
Yes.
And,
just like with your jokes.
Yep. And but I am good at also running with other people's ideas and making them better.
Mm-hmm.
The spark doesn't always come to me, but I can take other people's sparks and turn them into fire.
So, did we actually talk about No Way Home?
Spiderman, attorney at law?
No. Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Yes. No, I don't think we did actually talk about that.
We talked about, we wanted to talk about it, but we never actually talked about it. And that was one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about, because I know you're a big fan of the Marvel films.
Definitely.
And Spider-Man films in general.
Yeah, they've been really good.
Yeah, you're always, I think, was it you that was the big fan of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man?
I am, yes. I think
Tobey Maguire.
I think Tobey Maguire was a really great Peter Parker. And I think he would have been a just fine Spider-Man. Oh, he was a just fine Spider-Man. I think he would have been a really great Spider-Man had they written Spider-Man
Better.
as quippy as Spider-Man is. You know, Spider-Man's always
Yes.
cracking jokes, and Sam Raimi, whoever was writing those, didn't do that for Spider-Man,
No.
which is not Tobey Maguire's fault. I mean, he could have delivered the jokes just fine. It was, it was the writer. But
I
yeah, I enjoyed them. And in fact, I didn't hate emo Peter Parker. I did not hate that
seriously.
scene. I didn't hate
Oh
it.
my god.
It seemed.
I
It seemed.
loathed that. That was
It's
one of my biggest
no.
irks. Was
It felt true to how Peter Parker, especially Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, would have reacted to the increased aggression and whatnot. It wouldn't look like Flash Thompson exactly.
angry and lashing
Yeah.
out like that.
It
It would be
it would have been Peter Parker's own style, which is kind of nerdy, kind of
subtle
dorky.
and whippy.
Yeah. Now in the third one, it had huge problems with too many villains, as so many movies do. In their sequels.
now, No Way Home. How many villains were in that?
Yes, but they were already all established. That's the problem. We
Good point.
already knew who they all were.
And why they were there?
Yeah. So, you can do multiple villains, but you have just like in the Avengers, you have to build up to it with their own stories, and then you can do the team up. So like what we got in No Way Home was essentially the Sinister Six. Essentially.
Yes, but not. Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Essentially the Sinister Six, but with but with the start of the whole multiverse arc,
Yes.
which is, I mean, not the official start. Official start is Loki, the Loki series, but that was the birth of the multiverse, or the opening of the floodgates of the multiverse.
Correct. Because
And
there was already multiverse.
it was
but
just
they were
being
under
restrained.
control.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
being restrained. And then this is Spider-Man and Doctor Strange unlocking, or cracking the barrier.
Yep. So they can cross over and have. I really enjoyed the bring back and kind of the naivete of Spider-Man or Peter Parker in the MCU universe,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland Spider-Man, in I can save everybody.
Sure.
Because he really did feel like he could just save everybody if he could just fix what was wrong with them
Mm-hmm.
through technology, like Iron Man tried to do for a lot of people, and he thought he could do that for them. But a lot of them, it wasn't a matter of fixing them. Now with Doc Ock, yes, that was a technological issue that was solvable.
Well,
But
and
with-
the Green Goblin and Norman Osborn, I mean, it was the chemical that drove him insane.
Yes,
Electro.
But-
Electro was mad with power.
think so. I thought he was just kind of deranged. He
Well, I
got
mean,
power
he's a
for the
little
first time and-
deranged. He's a little deranged, but yeah. Well, I wouldn't say deranged. He's not normal. He's
Yes.
he's a different cat.
And
who
Jamie
had been-
Foxx played. Actually, I think he played him very well.
I
Um,
agree. I thought he played him well in the original Amazing Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
Or,
but
two.
he just wasn't given much to do in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like,
Yeah,
what is Electro going to do? All right, he's going to power up and fight Spider-Man. Well, that's not entirely exactly right. He wanted control on top of the power. He got the power. Now he wanted to control, because that's what everybody else used to do to him.
Yeah.
So they never tapped into that aspect of
Yeah.
the character, which I thought was a very big letdown.
Yeah. But like in that, like in the movie, you know, in No Way Home, he doesn't like he doesn't want to give up his power.
No.
And so like he's actually not a good dude. You know?
No.
But then like he has these moments where he's good, and it seems a little like where he seems good at least. And at the end he loses his power and he's kind of just like, meh, you know.
Dang
You win
it.
some, you lose some. Dagnabbit.
Yeah.
You know, let's be friends now,
Which is-
Spider-Man. I guess, thank you.
Which is kind of fitting to his character, because he wants power, but he doesn't know how to deal with it when he has it.
I guess, but you don't get to see that kind of like revelation. So he seems like he's the only one who's going to go back and just try to do it again, you know.
Yeah. And then you have Sandman, who honestly is probably one of the best fleshed out characters, and yet underutilized characters, all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he didn't rob because he was evil. He was robbed because he was desperate.
Yeah.
Why was he desperate? Because his daughter had cancer and needed treatment that he couldn't afford without the money.
Yeah. Exactly.
So he was.
Well, he ends up becoming a good guy in the comics.
Yeah.
But the problem with a man who's made entirely of sand, he should be a lot more powerful.
Yes.
Like
He should be a lot more powerful.
That is a power that is. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. How do you write on that?
Yeah, that's a problem in comic books altogether. You know, you come up with a great idea for a power, but the power can't
It's
be
too OP.
too powerful, because if it is, then you're screwed. I mean, do you remember Heroes? Does anybody remember Heroes?
Yeah. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Great. The first season was great,
Fantastic. Love the first season.
but what's his face? What was his name? Basically,
one?
the one who only had to be in contact, you know, had to come close to another, you know, hero, and he would gain the power.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
They named him Mimic after X-Men
Did they?
hero villain. Yeah.
I
He was
don't
the Mimic.
remember I don't remember that. But that was too powerful a power.
Yeah.
Way too powerful.
Yep.
Then
Good-
there's no
great
reason
idea.
he should ever be
Great
stopped.
idea. And same thing in the X-Men is who do we got? JBN. My wife liked that show, and I didn't get into it so much. We don't blame you, because the first season is fantastic. The premise is good. It builds well. Characters are developed well. And then the second season went, where do we go from here? I don't know.
Yeah, they had no
Yeah.
idea where they were going. They had
Yeah.
no long-term plan
And by
for
the
a
third
show
season,
that
it
is an
ruined.
overarching, you know, storyline
Yes.
from week to week. Not, you know, not a procedural at all. They had no
And honestly,
long-term plan. Terrible.
The character I liked best was Hero.
Oh yeah, everybody liked Hero. Hero's the best.
He was fantastic.
And then they put him on this path to dying from his own power. And you're just
Right?
like, what are you doing,
is
you
so
morons?
He had probably the best power.
Give drama, sure, to your beloved to the most beloved character in your show. Definitely give drama to him for sure. That's just a compelling storyline. But don't tell us that he's just gonna die from his own power, and then have him die. I mean, like, you're just like, especially as you've seen a future version of him that is in full control of his powers, using them left and right, no problem.
Yep.
You know, a badass version of him with long hair and a samurai sword, kicking ass.
Yeah.
but now his power is going to kill him. What is that garbage? They had no idea what they were doing. And they made a character that was too powerful, and they had to pull him back. Meanwhile, there's another character named Sylar, who's also too powerful. Except there's a cost to his power, but it's not for him. So, he can permanently take people's powers. He just has to dissect their brain.
Yeah.
And, but then, he just has all these powers. It's like, how do you defeat a guy like that?
Yeah. And and the premise of the show is what? Save the cheerleader, save the world, right? That was the tagline
in
the show.
In the first season at least.
And what happened for that first season? Did they save the cheerleader?
They did.
Well, she can't die.
Yes.
Because she regenerates.
They saved her from Sylar. Sylar could kill her. Because he'd take her power. So, that's where they saved her.
Things, but it was such a letdown to, okay, they saved her from him. Now what? He can still come after her.
They didn't have any idea where they were going. I don't think they started the season. They loved the save the cheerleader, save the world. They didn't know how they were getting there. They didn't even know what they were saving the world from.
Yeah, exactly. And
frankly, I don't know how she saved.
No ideas.
Frankly, I don't know how she saved the world.
No.
Like her not dying. I get, you know what it was? The only thing that I can think of is her not dying to Sylar meant Sylar never got her power and thus he was defeatable.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It's all very roundabout. They didn't know where they were going. They had some great characters. They had some great actors.
Really cool ideas.
Really cool ideas, but they didn't have a cohesive storytelling thing. But No Way Home did. No Way Home had a lot. And I really enjoyed it.
I love the banter.
I'm more excited for Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, because of Spider-Man.
Yeah, because of it. But like, I think I will enjoy Multiverse of Madness even more than I did No Way Home. Though No Way Home was really good.
I hope so. I really like, and I love the banter between the three Spider-Man when
for sure.
They're loading up their web shooters.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys doing? What do you mean? That just came out of you. It can be cracking up.
Yeah, that's great.
Because everybody in the theater's
you guys can't do that, huh?
Why doesn't he have web shooters? He should have web shooters. And it just comes out of him.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like, why does Spider-Man in the comic books have web shooters? It kind of should just come out of him if he's a Spider-Man, right?
No,
he's got all the other powers.
Fluid.
He's got all the other powers of a spider, strength, ability to climb up walls. You just can't spin webs. You just can't produce silk.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's not that weird.
I think that the editors or whatever thought it was a little too weird for a person to be shooting silk out of their body. And so
I thought he had to come up with the web weird shooters. For the silk to be coming out of his wrist.
Well, yeah, because you're used to the comic book. But if you really think about the logic of the comic book, he should be producing it in his own body.
Yeah, but he was a scientist, and so that's what he experimented with to create that ability.
No, I understand.
And it fits the persona that he was going after of Spider-Man, so he needs to create a web fluid to swing from.
Yeah. I understand all of that. What I'm saying is the logic of he got bit by a radioactive spider and got abilities of a spider, except producing except the most distinct ability that spiders have, which is to spin their own webs.
Yes.
a little odd. But you know, what's nice about the web shooter is that it creates a limitation, and so
Yes.
he can
So he
run out
run
of
out
web
of
fluid,
fluid.
and that produces a problem in the middle of a fight or whatever, you know, that
Exactly.
he has to overcome. And limitations, especially with superheroes, is so important. It's why kryptonite
It's
for
very
Superman,
important.
you know, even though
Yes.
at this point it's, you know, it's barely a limitation. I mean,
Barely an inconvenience.
yeah, especially when you
I
have
love that guy.
Superman Prime or whatever. Are you familiar
Oh
with
my
Superman
gosh.
Prime?
I know George Perez, the
Okay,
guy who
so
created Crisis of Infinite Earths.
then you are familiar with Superman Prime.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you don't know, he went to live in the center of a sun for like 1,000 years and became so powerful that he's kind of like the god of the Prime universe, and he has this whole progeny of, you know, generations of Supermen that he extends his power to,
Yep.
and they police the universe and whatnot. It's too powerful, too powerful.
Yeah, way too powerful, way too a lot of things.
But that's always been a problem for Superman.
Well, did you ever watch All Star Superman?
All-Star Superman is
Yes.
fantastic. I have the graphic novel and I've seen the animated movie.
That's the way
Phenomenal.
Superman should be.
Yes.
I love that because he got too powerful
Yeah.
and
His
he had
own
to suffer a consequence because of
his
it.
own ability to take in the solar radiation and turn it into strength ended up killing his body. The
It was
cells
eating
were
him up.
dying because they'd taken in too much.
Yep. And couldn't expel it fast enough.
Yep. But in the process, he became beyond genius smart and
Yep.
incomparably strong and fast. And you know, then he goes through like Herculean labors. It's a great
It's a great
great
series,
story.
and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The animated show is wonderful. It's not quite as good as the graphic novel, but that rarely is it ever. But it's still really enjoyable. If you have about an hour and 40 minutes to kill, watch All Star Superman. Tons of fun, just
Yep.
tons of fun. And I love the little like in the graphic novel, the fight between him and Hercules is a little bit more intense, but the one in the animated series is really funny when he arm wrestles both Hercules and
Samson.
was it Atlas?
It was Samson.
Samson. Yeah, for the mighty Lois Lane.
Yeah, because he had made a concoction that would make her as powerful as him for a day.
Yep.
Anyway,
So,
so yeah, 2 thumbs up. No Way Home. Can't wait for Multiverse of Madness.
right. Very, very good.
It looks like it's going to be really good. And like it ties into the What If series on with the alternate Stephen Strange.
Yes, which I'm really looking forward to seeing and seeing how that plays into that. I love the What If series.
Mm-hmm.
I love the What If series in the comic books because I have many of those. For
I always
example, my
hated the
favorite
What If series in the comics.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't want what ifs. I wanted what is. You know, like what ifs only pique my interest and give me a little taste, and then I don't get to see anything. You know, I
Beyond
want what
it.
is.
Like I've got one What If comic of what if Silver Surfer got the gauntlet, Infinity Gauntlet,
Mm.
and he wore it in the universe. And it was really interesting to see the road that the Silver Surfer went down in that regards, because
Interesting.
He recreated Zen La, brought back Shalabal, um, did all of that, and still fell to the power of the gauntlet.
Power corrupts.
Exactly. But
Absolute
he
power
stops
corrupts.
himself
Absolutely.
just beyond too far. And the funny thing is, he had Mephisto and Thanos as advisors.
You know what I hate? Mephisto and Thanos is hilarious. Um, you know what I hate in there's this in comic books and stuff. Like, okay, so if you know the original Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Wars afterwards,
Yes.
where the Magus, well, okay, so like
The opposite of Adam.
when Adam Warlock got hold of the gauntlet the first
Yes.
time, in order to use it effectively, he felt he needed to be purely rational, right?
Yeah.
So he expelled his darker nature and his good nature and became pure reason, which we should know is complete garbage.
Correct.
Pure reason leads to things like the Holocaust, you know?
Yep.
Now, I mean, obviously, hatred and envy and jealousy and anger also leads to things like the Holocaust. So,
Yes.
but you can see how you can reason, you can follow the line of logic as well that gets you to that point. Anyway, especially if you expel your good nature, and you don't. That's the thing that I hate, is that after at the end of the Infinity War, the Magus is Adam Warlock's darker nature, and so his darkness, and so he concocts his plan to get the gems back together and get it unlocked by the Living Tribunal so he can wield ultimate power.
Yes.
And then you see at the end he gets defeated, and the gems are locked so that will never work in unison again.
Yes.
And but then they allude to the goddess, who is his good nature. So Adam Warlock is still pure reason, right?
Yeah.
And they show a picture of her, and she's got multiple cosmic cubes, which in the Marvel universe is separate from, the gems.
Infinity Gauntlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the MCU, the Tesseract is the cosmic cube, but it is actually housing one of the gems. Not like that in the Marvel universe. The gems are separate, and there's a thing called the cosmic cube. And so she has multiple from multiple universes, and she's, channeling the power or whatever. And it's like, a being of pure good can be too good, and then you're in big trouble. It's all this Eastern Buddhist bullcrap of the yin and the yang, where there's a little bit of darkness in the white and there's a little bit of light in the darkness.
Yep.
JVN just outed by the knowledge of comics. Yeah, we were dorks.
Just wait, I haven't even cracked open yet.
Yeah, we were dorks when we were younger. I hate that notion that good can be too good.
Yes.
That's a complete rejection of God.
Yeah.
Because God is the ultimate good. He is only good. And, that can be too good.
Yeah, no. God can be perfect.
Yeah, there was in the MCU. In the
MCU.
The MCU. In the comics, they're separate.
There were two separate things. There's the
None of them are called a Tesseract. The Tesseract is actually a different thing.
Yeah, it's a completely separate
in physics
cosmic item. And then you have the cosmic cubes, you have the Infinity Gauntlets, you have the Celestials, you have the
a Tesseract is actually it's a polygonal shape. It's it's one of the 6 convex regular 4 polytopes. It's a super complex, shape. That's all a tesseract is. But anyway,
I don't know who the writers were writing for in the late 70s and 80s and even in the early 90s, because they
okay,
went
so
way over a lot of people's heads in in these stories, going, "We can be spacey and write cool big stuff." Wait, I went a little too far.
yep, yep. And a lot of them had no humanity, so they were just kind of weird stories, and you're just like,
Yeah.
They never did well. A tesseract is a four-dimensional analog of the cube, so it's a four-dimensional cube. The tesseract is to a cube as a cube is to a square.
Yeah.
So
It's another
a cube
dimension.
is a square put in 3 dimensions instead of length and width, the 2 dimensions of a square. And a cube is a tesseract is a cube made into 4 dimensions, adding the 4th dimension, I guess.
And what is the
Which-
4th dimension? Time.
So, I don't know. But
Mind blown.
But really, it has 32 edges and 16 vertices. It is a shape. It's so. I guess it's not the 4th dimension, which is time, but a 4th dimension, because apparently in physics there's like 11 dimensions.
Yes. There's 11 known dimensions of spatial anomalies. So,
Yeah, I mean, they're really mathematical things that
Yes.
have explanatory power, and they allow you to do things in mathematics, that are beyond us both. But they're not
Way beyond.
They're not necessarily actual. They're mathematical, they're theoretical, but math is abstracts. Numbers are abstract. They're not. They're
Yes and
actual
no.
and not actual at the same time.
E equals mc squared. We found it to be very actual, though it was all theoretical.
Yeah, but E equals mc square is those are just sounds.
Descriptors.
Sounds and
They're
symbols.
descriptors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Math is an abstract. It's all abstract. It's all immaterial, It's one of the
it's
proofs.
also universal.
It is. It's one of the proofs for there being things that are actual but not a part of the physical world,
Correct.
What is
Yes.
math? And how do you perform a scientific experiment in a lab for, 2?
So essentially, it also allows us to discover new things that aren't yet proven to be real, but could be.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the thing. There's a lot of
We've discovered elements because of mathematics that we didn't know existed, that do exist now. We've actually created them because of the mathematics.
some of them may have only
way back
existed for like a nanosecond, but they existed
Correct.
on this planet, and so they become part of the periodic table of elements. It's kind of
Correct.
interesting stuff. I like the philosophy of science, the theoretical, the conceptual aspect of science. I have zero interest in doing the calculations, none whatsoever.
It's a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I love the conceptualizing of it, but the actual application and proving is way beyond me. Well,
Right,
I can't say it's way beyond me. It's just not interesting to me.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about fun stuff. We should talk about some politics. What do you have any ideas for the show that you would like to add? Chat, do you have any ideas that you would like to hear us talk about on the show on Thursday? If you were late,
Yes.
we've changed the format of the show a bit. Tuesdays and Wednesdays we're going to be chilling on stream. That's why there's no episode number for this stream. We're just chilling, coming up with ideas to talk about on the podcast.
Talking about what
possibly
we want to
doing
talk
research.
about that we don't get you to.
Yeah, and we want to hear from you. What do you want to hear us talk about? Is there something that you'd like us
JVM.
to research?
You've been on here for a while.
Is there
What would you
something
like to talk about?
Is there something cool that you have seen, or something interesting that you've seen in the news that maybe we haven't? All of it is wide open. We want to hear from you.
Yeah,
But,
we want to research what you want to talk about, and that way we can include you more into the show.
Yep.
Make it a little bit more interactive. So, pipe up, say what you want to say. I know one of the big things that I want to talk about is pretty obvious. Fuel, what that means, energy, essentially. The energy crisis that we're finding ourselves in.
Mhm.
And yeah, talk about Biden finally cutting off Russia oil.
Russian
Yeah.
oil. Yeah, I mean that's a good. It would be a good thing if we were opening up our oil production,
Yeah. Exactly.
but we're not.
If we were
Yeah. This thing is
replacing Russia
designed to
oil
kill
with
us.
our oil
They're
instead
using
of
this.
going to. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, they're using this whole war to destroy America. Like our economy and the economy of the West is built on $100 barrel of oil, and it can fluctuate within a certain parameter for short bursts, but we're pretty much around $100 a barrel of oil, and yeah, it's a crisis that is totally preventable, and we would have been
100%.
prevented if he hadn't day one undid everything that Trump did with oil.
Yep.
For this Green New Deal, and he'll claim that he's this is we're serious about climate change. Climate change
No,
is
you're not.
a farce. I'm so sick of it. We need to find, if you can find, I want to find clips of this stuff, because
Of which stuff?
of just people talking about this,
Okay.
like of Biden talking about it's going to go up. And that's Russia's fault. No, it's not.
No, it's his fault for not preparing for that eventuality, for not keeping us independent. He keeps touting, "Oh, we're producing more oil than we ever have." Then why is the price where it is? No, we're not. You can't pee on me and call it rain and expect me to go, "Hey, look, it's raining." No. You're peeing on me. I get it. Stop it. It would be a lot cleaner. It would be a lot better if we were producing our own energy, not just oil, natural gas. We have more natural gas in this country than anywhere else in the world. Why aren't we tapping into it? Because it's on federal lands and they don't want to touch it. Or it's in Alaska and they don't want to touch that. The Keystone
Which is also
Pipeline,
federal land.
yes, it moves oil from Canada to the United States. We're still getting it from another neighboring country, but I'd much rather give my money to Canada than to Venezuela, than to Iran, than to
which is who they're
Syria.
trying to get to open up more oil, more oil production. They want Iran to supply. They tried to get an audience with Saudi Arabia and they got rejected. Saudi Arabia's like, nah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah,
So
the
about
9,000
the
permits. It's to
There
explore.
are 9,000 permits. Guess what? Every last one of those are from Trump and his presidency. Not a single one of them are from Biden. And you want to know why not a single one of them has been picked up? Because the oil companies don't want to go, okay, let's start drilling. Oh, we can't drill anymore. We just lost $500 million.
Yep. On top of that, it's for exploration. The permits are for exploration, so
Not
they
for
still have.
pumping.
They may not find oil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. And why aren't we building nuclear power plants? It's the cleanest energy we can produce. Why aren't we doing modern nuclear power plants, building them all over the country? And that way we can run a true clean energy, provide power for everybody in ample supply, cleanly, efficiently, and then you can have all the electric cars you want. Because guess what? They're being powered by clean nuclear energy. They have nuclear power plants now, designs that they can build that have zero waste product. Zero. No nuclear waste product. So those big containers that you see out on display in the pictures, you know what those are from? Those are from warships. Those are from our nuclear warships that we have to keep displayed so that Russia can take pictures of them and go, okay, good. You dismantled that one like you said you did. All right, we can keep count on those. That's exactly why they're out in an open pit for everyone to see. And they call that the nuclear waste pit. It is infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating why they can't build these nuclear power plants that are safe, secure, provide tons of jobs, and provide clean power to power all their clean cars. Which if you really want to be environmentally friendly, that car you're driving right now, keep driving it. Don't buy a new car. The longer you drive that car, even if it's a gas guzzler, it actually produces less environmental impact than buying a new car. So keep driving the beater.
Yeah.
All of this Green New Deal stuff is just absolutely infuriating, and it all stems from it. All of these policies stem from that Green New Deal. All the way that Biden reacts to everything is all stipulated in the Green New Deal, and you can actually predict his how he's going to react to something by looking at the Green New Deal.
I just found something.
What
the
you got?
Nuclear Energy Institute has a whole fact sheet on nuclear energy. And might as well just present it. Just the facts.
Yeah.
Stuff like 51.6% of all the clean energy sources in America. Of all the clean energy sources in America, 51.6% of it comes from nuclear.
Yes.
And it is a clean energy, and it's because nothing can compare. Like it doesn't even come close. Geothermal, you have to have a spot. Solar,
you have to have very specific spots.
Cells just aren't that efficient. Hydrogen and wind.
Well, hydrogen's become kind of a bust.
Because
it's too unstable.
Well, you're required for. Not hydrogen, hydro. So water.
Hydroelectric.
I'm thinking too big.
Okay.
Hydroelectric.
Again,
yeah.
you have to have the right waterway, and then you're having to dam it up, and then that's causing ecological damage. So you have that on top of that. So
says,
wind energy is expensive.
Listen to this. Nuclear power plants avoid more than 471 million metric tons of carbon emissions each year.
If you want clean energy, it's nuclear. It's nuclear. And I don't know why these idiots demonize nuclear energy so much.
Because climate change is not about saving the environment.
No, it's about control.
It's more than that. It's about the managed decline of America and the West.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They don't want us to go nuclear because nuclear would solve the problem.
It is solving the problem.
And but the problem to them isn't that the world's going to end because they know that's garbage.
Yeah.
The problem is that the West still exists, that America is still a superpower. What about the three-eyed fish? Well, that's because of Montgomery K. Burns, I believe. Is it K? I think it is. And he's a money-grubbing lunatic who doesn't care about safety or anything like that. And so he hires a man called Homer J. Simpson, who is the safety inspector and is terrible at his job. A world
Usually
class,
sleeping at it.
A world class idiot. So yeah, and basically he it's a trope. It's a trope of what nuclear energy used to be, and even then it wasn't really that. You know,
it's what I honestly I think it's what liberals think nuclear energy is.
It is
little green pellets that go around glowing and killing people in droves. When it's not that at all.
Well,
yes,
listen to this.
Some nuclear stuff does glow green.
Listen to this. One uranium fuel pellet, the size of a pencil eraser, provides as much energy as 1 ton of coal, 149 gallons of oil, and 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas. It's amazing. Yeah. This is...
Can you imagine if... Okay.
And they even go into the decommissioning process. This is going to be great. Yeah, so we can definitely talk about nuclear on the on the show.
Nuclear is awesome. It's...
I mean, it's not going to solve the immediate crisis, but
No,
it
'cause
would
it takes
prevent
about
us from
10 years
even
to build a
having
plant.
a crisis.
Actually, about 5 years to build a plant, I think is what it was.
Well, I'm sure.
It used to take about 10 years, and now I think they knocked that down to 5. But it's still... When was the last time we built a
the
new
Empire
nuclear
State
plant?
Building in a year?
Yeah.
Disney World was built in like a year.
Yeah. They weren't as regulated as nuclear power plants are.
Bingo bango. Well, now, I mean, nowadays they would be. Disney World would not be able to be built in a year. The Empire State Building would not be able to be built in a year. Just look how long it took. How long it took to get the stupid, World Trade Center Memorial Building, whatever it's called. I can't remember.
12 years.
Yeah, 12 years it took to build that thing. You know, and I'm
They
sure part of that
they
was...
officially opened it 10 years after 9/11, but it actually didn't officially allow people to come into it until 12 years.
Yeah. And like...
Or
that was...
Here's a good one for you. What about the vet hospital? The Veterans Hospital?
Okay.
That was built here in Florida. That was $1 billion over budget.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and 5 years past its due date.
Mm-hmm.
$1 billion over budget and 5 years past when it was supposed to be opened. And it was supposed to be this big thing where veterans could come and get whatever treatment they needed for free. That is government oversight. That's government oversight for you right there. Just ludicrous. Ludicrous. But just imagine if we had all the power that we could ever need at our fingertips, whenever we needed it. You could do rails with electricity pretty much anywhere. You wouldn't have to mine for coal nearly as much. Granted, that would really put a lot of people out of commission in the Appalachians, but still, it's a hard industry. Coal
Yeah,
mining.
I mean it's, but they could keep doing it, and we could just export it.
True. Send it to India. They still use a ton of coal.
Yeah, so does China.
Oh
So does
wait,
China.
no, we want them to be green too. That way
Well,
they're not as powerful.
But yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Well, we can't have America exporting stuff.
Yeah, right. People
would
might
be
call up
bad.
our debt.
Well, and it makes us vulnerable.
Paybacks a
We
ditch.
also we could we could we could build coal power plants in and clean coal. Okay, clean coal is a thing too. Like
Sort
it
of
really
thing.
is.
Yeah. Cleaner.
We've significantly reduced emissions from coal power plants.
Yes, but nuclear energy is kind of expensive. Not even half as expensive as solar, and not even a quarter as expensive as wind. Wind energy is immensely expensive. Those fan blades are ridiculous. And then you have solar, which uses massive amounts of silica. And it has to be a very specific type. And then you have to use massive amounts of energy to get that silica into silica strips in order to make solar panels. It's ridiculous the amount of energy you have to put into a solar panel in order to get solar energy out of it. And then on top of that, the glass, the metal, the everything else needed to make it.
Yeah, and then as people as your as they wear out, all that stuff's just gonna go in a landfill.
Which they only last for 20 to 25 years. 25 years max is usually what I see solar panels lasting. And even then, the technology is increasing in such a pace that in 5 years after the panels are installed, they're obsolete.
Yeah, they might
So
still be producing power,
Oh yeah, they're still producing power.
but there'll be
go,
newer technology that produces more power more efficiently.
but
we're
go
not-
back
but we're
5
not
years.
there.
The best panel on the market was making 220 watts.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best panel on the market. You know what the best panel on the market is today? 560 watts.
Sweet.
560 watts. Half of a kilowatt.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of
And that'll continue, and that's good.
Mhm.
But it's we're not there yet.
Exactly. So solar is coming along like the computer is, leaps and bounds, but it's still not there yet. Excuse me, I got the hiccups.
Yeah, it's all good.
Nuclear has it produces energy reliably, cleanly, and in massive amounts. A nuclear power plant can replace 2 to 2.5 coal burning plants. Just one versus 2.5. That's a lot of energy. And for the amount that you need to put into it, it's massive. Compared to them, yes, it would be cheaper and a lot better on the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You also need a lot less land to do a nuclear power plant compared to a solar power plant.
For sure.
And they've tried to do the ones where they focus the sunlight into the middle, onto the little thing to heat it up and cook the water that way out in the Sahara. Every last one of those have failed because of melting the mirrors, and they can't get enough water to those locations to make the system work. So, again, solar is just not there yet, and probably won't be for another 20 years. And then it only works half of the day. Well, that power that you created when the sun was out, how do you store that? We still don't have good storage systems for electricity. Lithium power just isn't there yet. Um, Lithium is incredibly destructive to the ecosystem to mine. So
to
where do
mine
we store this power?
and you know, you can't recycle the batteries really.
No, you really can't. You can't recycle the lithium. You can't get it back to where it could be reused in any meaningful form. Some of the materials can be reused, but not much. And then it's usually toxic and
Yeah.
dangerous.
And just think about all the electric cars that they want to have by, when is it, 2030?
2030.
Yeah.
Or
So in
2025 to 2030.
yeah, so within 3 to 8 years, they want every car to be electric.
Every new car to be electric.
Yeah. What are we going to do with all those batteries?
We have to find a different. We have to find a different energy storage system because lithium is not the answer.
Yeah.
They are working on silica batteries, and that might be a good alternative, but they're not there yet. They haven't made the battery yet.
Yeah.
The math is there,
Tesla's
but the
doing
technology isn't there
amazing things, you know. But this isn't about, none of climate change is about it's about the redistribution of wealth.
Yeah.
It's about the managed decline. It's why you see, I mean, we've said this before, it's why things like the Paris Accords, we're the only ones paying trillions of dollars.
Yep.
You know, China says that they'll play along and then does nothing and faces zero consequences for it because they don't care if China's polluting.
They don't get any sanctions because they need their manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
They need China's manpower.
Yeah.
Whereas,
well, that was the agreement. We'll be the consumers and China will be the producer, you know? Here's the thing that burns me up the most. This is the thing that burns me up absolutely the most. Is that it's illegal to build coal power plants in Africa.
why?
Because climate change, right? But what does Africa need to pull itself out of poverty?
Energy.
They're purposefully,
There's a ton of coal in Africa.
Yeah, they're purposefully crippling Africa for green causes, so that Africa stays green. Now, granted, I mean, I don't want the savannah to be covered in coal dust, you know. But like we said, clean coal technology is for real, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, we could build nuclear power plants. But
See,
no.
Ace Boss says he believes in climate change. I believe that climate is changing. I don't believe it's man-made. I don't think that man is causing that much climate. I don't think man's impact is such that it's causing the change. The world is always changing. We've had ice ages, we've had hot ages throughout history. Even through the short time that man has been recording this, we've had an ice age. It was a mini ice age. And then there was also recordings when they grew grapes up in England. That's how hot it got. So the climate's going to change, whether or not it's man-made, whether or not it's even if man all of a sudden poof don't exist anymore, we're all gone, rapture happens. Guess what? There's still going to be climate change because guess what? The Earth is always changing. So
Yeah. Not to
yes.
mention solar flares.
Yeah, the
Solar
sun is
flares
always
affecting heat.
adjusting and moving. So yeah, things are
Yeah.
going to
The
change.
sun has a huge
We
effect
need to react
on
to
our
it.
climate. A huge effect. Let's see. Gosh, what? I'll look up that.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think we can stop climate change. What I think we can do is mitigate its effects uh, on our culture.
Mm-hmm.
If we have exposure to enough free energy, or not free energy, enough cheap energy, we wouldn't have to worry about uh, having an ice age. We'd have enough power to keep ourselves warm
Mm-hmm.
and make it through a mini ice age. Or if there's enough power, we could also uh, turn our water, the salt water of the oceans, into fresh water. And then 70% of our oceans, guess what? We got water for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's
a
lots
lot
of
of room there.
solutions through technology, but we need energy to bring that technology into the forefront and be effective with it. And until we create matter antimatter chambers with dilithium crystals powering them, we're just not going to be there.
If you didn't know, well, too bad.
If you didn't get that reference, you need to start
That's
watching
your
some
fault.
Trek.
That's not our fault, okay? That's your
Yes.
problem. Live long and prosper.
Oh, come on. You can do a better one than that.
Oh, yeah, I can. I just did it really quick, okay?
Thumbs out, thumb out, thumb out.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
No, I don't agree with that.
this is
Oh,
a
dude.
Jewish symbol. This is a Star Trek symbol.
This is a Jewish symbol?
Mm-hmm. Leonard Nimoy's Jewish. He saw it in one of their ceremonies or whatnot, and they were looking for a symbol for
A gesture.
a gesture that can denote greeting for the Vulcans, and so he did that.
Interesting. I'll trust you, but not very far.
Well, that's what the documentary with his son
I'm
said.
playing with you. I'm playing
And-
with you. You're obviously you're the Star Trek expert in this group. I like
I'm the
me
Star
a Star
Trek,
Trek,
Star Wars expert.
but I like me some Star Trek and some Star Wars, but I'm no expert.
If it's sci-fi, I'm pretty much an expert. When it comes to fantasy, I bow to you, buddy.
Yeah, even then, there's still a whole world of stuff to to embark on. Oh, did you see? Are you familiar with Brandon Sanderson?
No.
Have you ever
Who's
heard of
Brandon Sanderson?
the Mistborn trilogy?
Seems like I have heard of that.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular fantasy series. He wrote that one. He's currently writing a 10-book epic fantasy called the Stormlight Archives, and almost all of his series are part of a larger universe called the Cosmere that he's interweaving together. in a much larger narrative. So like there's the individual narratives of each world, and then there's a larger thing going on across the worlds, and then that will ultimately culminate in an epic series that brings it all together. Which
See, I don't think
I am
give enough
100% there
credit
for.
to Isaac Asimov.
Why is that?
He was the one that originated all that kind of idea. Is individual story, whole universe
Yeah.
with the Foundation series.
Okay. I've never read them.
Oh, good series.
Well, you know.
He's the grandfather of sci-fi.
Yeah, I know. I know who he is.
And
iRobot and all that
just
stuff.
do what?
iRobot and all that stuff.
Yes.
I really enjoy his that short story about reversing entropy.
Yeah.
It's a good one. But what was I gonna say? Oh, so he so apparently he's kind of a funny dude. He's a nerd, no doubt. You know, he's like a Magic the Gathering nerd, and he loves fantasy and sci-fi and all that stuff. And so he puts this video out, is like where he's like he starts out as if he's coming. He's apologizing to the public for his irresponsibility, and he's revealing some dark secret that needs to come out, and he's asking for everybody's patience and understanding as he lays out, you know, what he's done, you know. And it turns out what he did was write 4 novels outside of the novels that he had promised that he would be working on in the space of 2 years. The dude is a writing machine. He releases a novel every year. Okay? And his novels are like 800 pages. Okay?
Holy cow.
Yeah. He's an epic fantasy author. His novels are huge. He does some novellas, you know, from time to time, but most of the time it's epic fantasy or epic sci-fi, mostly epic fantasy. He does middle grade fiction too, and stuff like that. But most of his stuff is epic fantasy. So he produces a ton of stuff. He's constantly writing. He's a machine. Well, he was laying it out, and like 55% of his year was traveling for tours and conventions and things like that.
Yeah.
And when he's on tour, that's stressful. So writing became too much when he's traveling. So when he's traveling, he's just traveling. And then, you know, the large portion of the rest of his year is writing, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. Well, the pandemic or the plandemic made it so that he couldn't travel, right?
So he wrote.
So he just wrote, and it wasn't just his obligatory. He wrote 4 extra novels, you know, set in the Cosmere and stuff like that, but with, you know, just ideas that came to him. Some of them are set in the Cosmere, not all of them, I think, and you know, just ideas that came to him that he wanted, that he would have had to like set aside or scrap because his schedule for keeping the stuff that he had promised was so tight with all the traveling.
Yes.
So, but so like he found, and so it was refreshing to be able to write just for the love of writing. And he did it all in secret. He told nobody. His own staff didn't know that he had been writing these novels. And he wrote freaking 4 of them.
Jesus.
It's insane. Like the stack of paper that he when he was stacking them, and he started off by saying he wrote an extra novel. And then he goes on, he's like, actually, I wrote 2 extra novels. Actually, I wrote 4 extra novels. And a 5th story that might be a graphic novel, but I'm not sure where it is, so I'm not going to count that one. And so, and the stack of paper was like this high. Or let me see if you can see this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, more. Okay. Sorry, there's a delay, so you can't see. It was a huge stack of paper. So they're big
I
novels.
once caught a fish this big.
Yeah, so he starts a Kickstarter so that you can receive digital versions. Starting next year, the books will come quarterly, you know, or you can get you can pay like $160 for hardcover editions, and it's like $40 for all of the ebooks. So he the Kickstarter yesterday, I checked it, and it was at $25 million.
Holy
that
cow.
He had raised. Yeah. It's the biggest Kickstarter ever was the Pebble watch and it raised $20 million. So he's already destroyed that. Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Amazing. So he's killing the game,
Just
and
goes
I'm
to
excited.
show you.
I want to get the ebooks. I want to get those. I want to read them. I've read just about everything else. Not everything. There's still a couple books that I haven't had time for, but
Yeah, I've
good
got
stuff.
several books on my to-do list. One of them being yours. So
Yes, thank you for doing that, by the way. I started printing it out so my wife can read it. She can't read on a screen. It messes her up.
okay.
And so she said, if you print it out for me, so I started doing it at work. Don't tell anybody. But but yeah. Anyway, it's 10:45.
I think we've wrapped this up.
Yeah, I think we got a good topic. We'll be back on tomorrow to discuss more. So now that you know the new format, as you're going through your day and you hear something that you want to know more about, let us know tomorrow night, and we'll see what we can do to come up with stuff for the show.
Yes,
that's
we'll
what these
track
sessions
down-
now are about. And the show will be Thursday, and it'll be a full-on. We'll try to make it a full-on production. You know, with images and clips and all that jazz. So, thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Peace out. God bless.
See you guys.
I told him someday I would buy dollies with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the proud, noble bark I steer, steady course for the havens. Too many foemen, too many foemen, too many foemen.
Tens of thousands on my right, thousands by my side. War between good and evil, watching our fists collide. Battle for our freedom now, to the streets we ride. Flags waving all around, pages full of pride. This is where we make a stand, no more give or take. March around the Capitol, storm the city gates. Putting pressure on their necks until the truth breaks. All walls of corruption, take out all the snakes. Star Spangled Banner, got it playing loud and proud. People from all walks of life filling up the crowd. Defend the Constitution, many warriors have vowed. Casting down any among us who have bucked and cowed. Enough with tyranny, we come to take our country back. For all citizens, white, red, brown, or black. Return her to a form of glory, fix their bloody crack on the crown. Fetch it down, it's going down.
Someday I would buy dollies with good oars and sails to distant shores. Stand up high in the proud, noble bark I steer, steady course for the havens. Too many foemen.
My mama told me, yeah, she warned me that this day would come. I'm like my father, go to combat with the blazing guns. I survived that, then I came back to the place I'm from to face off all these haters and the battle in the place I love. You can't break me down, I'm indivisible. You still see my raps if I was invisible. But I'm standing tall, and I spit the truth. So you all appalled, cause you know it's true. They call it freedom cause the fallen troops pay for this. I love this country, doesn't matter how much hate I get. I take my colors in the battle, ain't no wavering. Cause this is for my warriors who marching to the cadences. This is for the sisters working hard on the ship. This is for the brothers getting y'all doctorate. Father, yeah, taking y'all on the ship. Baby, tell me why it's hard for the patriot.